Okay, we are recording. All right, happy Thursday. It's Thursday, everybody. Woo! We made it through, what day is this of DL? We had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So we're on day 7 of DL. Woo! So today we are going to be working on documents D and E. And we are going to be working on our bucketing today. So I'm going to pause this 1 second. Okay, so the packet you need to have is the packet we've been working on for the last couple of days, which is the What is Justice? On Tuesday, I believe, we worked on the background essay. On Wednesday, we worked on the pre-bucketing. And then we worked on documents A, B, and C. So today we are going to work on documents D and E. So let me share my screen. Okie dokie. So we are going to start with, and I'm not going to lie, I already recorded this video and did the whole shebang and then found out it didn't record correctly. So my notes are already here, so we're going to just go with it. All right, so starting with document C, starting with document D. Document D has to do with property laws. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? So we don't get confused here. So let's just stick with this for a minute. All right, so we're going to start with our up and our triple R. So we're going to underline or highlight our title, which is document D, and then our source. And when we talk about the source, it talks about excerpts from Hammurabi's Code, circa 1754 BCE. So circa means about. So we already know at this point that we are reading the actual laws from Hammurabi's kingdom and time period. So, and because it came from this time, it is 1754 BCE, which makes it a primary source. I also want to point out that when we talk about excerpts, that means parts. An excerpt is parts. So this isn't all of the law. This isn't all the laws about property, but it is some of them, and it's just giving us a little taste of some of their laws. So we're going to start with Law 21, which states, oh wait, sorry, I didn't finish my up and our triple R. So no, we don't have to do predictions. We have to number the paragraphs. So we have paragraph 1, paragraph, I'm just going to move this, doesn't matter. Paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, and paragraph 4. So let's start with Law 21, which is paragraph 1. It says, if a man has broken through the wall to rob a house, they shall put him to death and pierce him. And pierce, you're going to notice right here, I put means to stab. Or hang him in the wall which he has made. The hole in the wall which is made. So if you break into a house to rob it, you're dying. They're either going to hang you from the hole you made, because I guess that's how you broke into houses back then, or they're going to stab you. But either way, you're done. Okay, Law 23. Oh, pause, sorry. Since this is the second time I've done this, I forgot. I want to remind you that we are looking at all 5 of these documents, and we are going to have to answer the question, was Hammurabi's laws just? Meaning, were they fair? Which we also have to keep in mind, this was number 1, 4,000 years ago, and number 2, it was a different time, it was a different place. So what may seem unfair to us may not necessarily have been unfair then. Also, something kind of a fun fact, when the founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Ben Franklin, George Washington, I might have already said him, John Adams, when they were looking at building the Constitution, they actually looked at Hammurabi's laws and looked at what they could take from those laws that they believed would help protect the new citizens of this new country they were coming up with. And actually, I'm going blank, but in one of our buildings in DC, there's actually a carving of Hammurabi, because his laws were part of our laws when we started this country, which is kind of cool. All right, Law 23. If the robber is not caught, the man who has been robbed shall formally declare. Basically, that means is he's going to explain what was stolen. Whatever he had lost before a god and the city and the mayor in whose territory or district the robbery has been committed shall replace for him whatever he has lost. So it's kind of like today, what you pay for insurance. Your parents pay insurance. So something in your house is damaged, the insurance company will pay to have it replaced. This, back in Hammurabi's time, someone broke into your little humble abode and stole stuff, and the robber wasn't ever caught. You would go to your mayor and be like, yo, mayor, my PlayStation, my Xbox, my scooter, and my soda was stolen. And they will replace it for you. It's kind of nice. All right, Law 48, paragraph 3. If a man has borrowed money to plant his fields and a storm has flooded his field or carried away the crops. So basically that means if a flood comes and ruins his crops. In that year, he does not have to pay his creditor. And a creditor is a person who loaned the farmer money. So let's say I'm Bob. I'm going to borrow money from Joe. I borrow that money, I buy seeds, I grow crops. When the crops are ready, I can sell them, keep money for me, and also pay back Joe. However, if my crops are ruined, I can't pay Joe, and I don't want Joe coming to break my legs. So the law says that I don't have to pay Joe, which is great if you're Joe or Bob. But if you're Joe, you're like, dude, where's my money? I gave you money. So it kind of stinks that way. And then Law 53 and 54 states, if a man has opened his trench for irrigation and the waters had flooded his neighbor's fields, the man must restore the crops he has caused to be lost. So what that looks like, look at my little drawing right here. This is a irrigation trench that they use the water from the Tigris and Euphrates to fill up. These are little irrigation, like this is Farmer A's little irrigation. And then, let's see, these are his little crops right here. This is his little crops. Same thing. Here's Farmer B, here's his crops. So what happened, Farmer B, when he wants to water his crops, there's a little gate right here that he can open. When he opens it, the water from this canal is going to come in and water his crops. If he does not close it in time, too much water is going to come out and it's going to flood his neighbor's field as well. So if that happens and his neighbor's field gets ruined, then he has to pay to replace the crops that he ruined. Seems kind of fair. Again, something similar to today. If you ruin somebody's property, you can be sued and be forced to have to pay back the money. All right, so let's look at the questions. Document 1, or question 1 states, in Law 21, what is the penalty for breaking into a house? So I'm going to be using this so I don't have to go back and forth, and hopefully you have yours in front of you. So Law 21 states, if a man has broken through the wall, he shall be put to death by piercing or hanging. So according to paragraph 1, the penalty for breaking into a house is death, either by being stabbed or hung. Not so good, doesn't make you want to break into a house. Question 2, how might Hammurabi justify the harsh punishment? Tough, but he could say, people are going to feel more protected when they know that robbers, people who do not great things, are not going to be around. So they're going to feel safer. They're going to want to go out into the city. They're going to want to spend money, talk with their friends, go, hey. They're not just going to want to hide in their house. So it's just going to be better citizens. It's going to be a happier civilization because they feel safe. They feel protected. And he could argue that. Question 3 says, in Law 23, if the robber is not caught, who reimburses the victim for his or her loss? So who replaces the items that were lost? And if we look at our document, Law 23, it lets us know the city and the mayor are going to replace what you lost, which again, you feel like people are looking out for you. It's not just like, oh, you got robbed, too bad, so sad, stinks to be you, rocks be us. you know that they're your king, your leaders are wanting to help you, which actually is number 2. Or number 4, how might Hammurabi have justified reimbursing the victims? Well, again, letting people know that the king and the city-state will help them. And again, anytime you can pause this video so you can write down the notes. Number 5 says, in Law 48, what is a creditor, and is Law 48 fair to the creditors? So that's where saying if you borrow money from a creditor, so a creditor is someone who loans you money. If you borrow money and your crops are ruined, you don't have to pay the creditor back. This seems great for the farmer, but it doesn't seem great for the creditor because then they lose money. And then if someone wanted to borrow money from me, I'd be like, yeah, no, because I don't know if I'm going to get it back. I may get it back, I may not get it back. I don't know. So that would make me a little weary about loaning money. Overall, are these laws regarding property just? Again, this is going to be your opinion. All right, the laws about robbery are pretty hardcore. Right, you die. But on the other hand, it makes people feel safer. And wanting to help out robbery victims seems really good too. So again, this is going to be your opinion. Yep, dude, totally. I think these laws regarding property are just. Or nope, dude, sorry, I think these laws regarding property are not just. All right, and again, if you need to finish writing this down, pause it. You are expected to have this page annotated. You don't have to draw my little beautiful drawing there. And this page. So if you need to, pause it, finish writing it down, and then you can hit play. All right, document E, woohoo! Has to do with personal injury. So we're gonna start out with our up and our triple R. So I highlighted document E, and I highlighted the source. Again, we know that this is actual from the laws, so this is a primary source. Number my paragraphs, there's going to be 6. Look at those beautiful numbers, huh? Look at that 6. Looks like it's a 6 that's about to fall down. Not looking so great. All right, Law 196. If a man has knocked out the eye of a free man, his eye shall be knocked out. So I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that saying, an eye for an eye, but this is where it came from. So if you're going along and you punch out somebody's eye, your punishment is then they get to punch out your eye. I guess seems fair. If you're going to punch out somebody's eye, I guess you should expect for your eye. Law 199. If he has knocked out the eye of a slave, then he shall pay half his value. So let's say you have a slave that's worth $10 and you punch out his eye. Then you have to pay half of his value. So you would have to pay his owner $5. All right. Law 209 states, if a man strikes, and strikes means hits, the daughter of a free man and causes her to lose the fruit of her womb. So fruit of her womb is unborn baby. So if a man strikes the daughter of a free man and causes her to have a miscarriage, he has to pay 10 shekels of silver. And shekels is like their money system. They did a lot of trading, but eventually they did have a money system and it was shekels. As a woman, I'm like, bro, so if you hit a free man, same thing happens to the free man. But if you cause me to have a miscarriage, just gotta pay my father. You don't even get to pay the daughter. The daughter, too bad, so sad, you pay the father. Again, different time, I have to remember that. Law 213 says, if he has struck the slave girl of a free man and causes her to lose the fruit of her womb, so if he causes the slave girl and she has a miscarriage, he just has to pay 2 shekels. No big deal, you know, it happens. Your slave had a miscarriage. She lost her child. Again, I know different time, different place, and we got to keep that in mind. All right, Law 215. If a surgeon has operated with a bronze lancet, and a bronze lancet is like a medical tool, it'd be like a scalpel, on the body of a free man, and he saves the man's life, he receives 10 shekels of silver. Good job, sir. He saved his life. Way to be. Law 218 states, if a surgeon has operated with the bronze lancet, which again is a medical tool, on a free man for a serious injury, and he causes his death. Sorry, that was just my teenager stomping through because she's pouting. His hand shall be cut off. So if you're a surgeon and you perform surgery and the guy dies, your hands are gone. Again, seems hardcore, but Hammurabi could argue, look, this doctor killed somebody. We don't want him killing anybody else, so if we take off his hand, he can't do any more surgery. Kind of the same today. I mean, obviously, if you're a doctor and you kill someone because of your fault, you don't lose your hands, but you're probably going to lose your medical license and you can't be a doctor anymore. So it's not exactly the same, but it's the same idea. The punishment being you cannot do this to anybody else. You cannot practice medicine. So same idea, just, you know, different time periods. All right, so let's go to answer these questions. You guys should actually probably be happy that I'm having to redo this because I'm definitely faster the second time. The first video was like 37 minutes long. I almost started to cry when I saw it didn't record, but I'm doing this one a little faster, since I already have the notes done. All right, question number 1. It says, examine laws 196, 199. How do you think Hammurabi would justify the different punishments for the same crime? He could say that a free man is from a higher social class. Think of our social pyramid. The free man is going to be higher up, so they're going to have more value. A slave is from a lower social class. It's going to be, so they're going to have less value. So that is how he could justify different punishments for the same crime, is depending on the person's value or social class. Don't necessarily agree, but that is something he could say. Number 2, we talked about what is the meaning of fruit of her womb, and that's unborn baby. And again, pause. You can pause this at any point. Number 3, how might Hammurabi argue that 215 and 218 were just? Well, again, the doctor does a good job, he gets a reward. Good job. Doctor makes a mistake, they make sure, I forgot to put sure there, make sure he can't hurt someone else. But my question is, what if you're fixing someone's liver and they have a heart attack and die? It's not your fault they died, but they still cut off your hands. So that's a little scary. I don't know if I want to be a doctor. That would make me a little weary, a little scared. Document 4. Hammurabi could use these laws about how could you use these laws about personal injury to argue that Hammurabi's code was not just? Here's my thought. Hammurabi claims he is protecting the weak. Remember at the beginning, he's like, I protect the widows, I protect the orphans, I protect those who are being oppressed. Wouldn't slaves be ones who are being oppressed? Wouldn't slaves be ones that people need to protect? And they get the least protection because they're considered the less valuable. So that seems not just to me. Number 5 says, is justice absolute? That is a just punishment in 1800 BCE a just punishment today? So again, this is going to be your opinion. Do you think that a punishment that was fair 4,000 years ago could also be fair today? It is your opinion, but you need to tell me, you either think, yes, dude, totally, they could be fair, and here's why, or nope, dude, totally, something that was fair 4,000 years ago is definitely not fair today, and this is why. So at this point, I hope you've paused, and you should have all of document D annotated and answer. All of document E annotated and answer. Third step, on your packet, here's your packet, at the back, there is this blank sheet of paper. I forgot to print it out. But this is where we're going to go back to our buckets. So if you remember, I'm going to go back to the beginning. We made 2 buckets. Our laws, oops, too far. Our laws were either going to go into the just bucket or the not just bucket. And so that's what we're going to work on now. So we're going to look at documents C, D, and E. And so on that blank sheet of paper, you are going to draw 2 buckets. So I have my little pen, I'm going to draw 2 buckets. All right, I'm going to draw 2 buckets. My buckets look like this. Sorry, this is the crazy house. And one bucket is going to say fair or just. And one bucket is going to say not just like you see there. So it's going to look like this, just and not just. And again, this is on the back of this. So then what you are going to do is I am going to go through and recap each law quickly. And you are then going to, as I am talking and as I'm explaining each law, you are going to write whether you think that law goes in the just bucket or the unjust bucket. So for example, starting with document C, Law 129 states that if a married lady is caught in adultery with another man, they will drown him. So you're now going to be like, okay, yep, dude, I totally think that's fair. You shouldn't cheat. So you can literally just put 29. You can put law if you want, or you can just put 29. Or you can be like, yeah, no, that's a little hardcore. People make mistakes. Her husband could be mean, whatever. And so you could put it into the not just bucket. Either one, just, unjust. All right. And you're going to do this for each document as I talk. So if I'm doing this, I'm listening to Ms. Morris, I'm like, okay, you know what? I think law 29 is just. So I'm going to write law 29 in my just bucket. All right. So as I talk about each law, you can pause it if you need to, and you're going to decide if you're going to put it in the just category or the not just category bucket. All right. So again, law 129. Oh, shoot. That should have been 129. Sorry, guys. Law 129. If a married lady is caught, if she gets caught cheating, they're going to drown him. Just, unjust. Put it which bucket you believe. Law 148. If a man marries a wife and the wife gets a disease, if that man wants to get another wife, he totally can, but he has to take care of his first wife until she passes away. So again, you're going to decide, does law 148, are you going to put it in your just bucket or are you going to put it in your not just bucket? Either one. Law 168 says, if a man has determined to disinherit a son, means leave him no moolah, but the son has not done anything wrong, then the father cannot do that. He must leave the money to the son. So now you're going to decide, law 168, is that just or unjust? All right, so let's say I'm going to have it here. And these are just examples. And then law 195 talks about if a son has struck his father, his hand shall be cut off. So now you're going to decide law 195, is that just or do you think it's not just? So let's say, for example, I'm not saying I agree. Let's just say, oh, I'm like, yeah, no, not just. You shouldn't be able to chop off a kid's hand. Either way, doesn't matter. Okay, so at this point, you should have all laws from document C in one bucket or the other. All right, document D, law 21 states that if a man tries to rob a house and he gets caught, they're going to kill him. So you're going to put law 140 or law 21 is either going to be in just, you're like, yeah, shouldn't rob the house, or not just. Pick one. Law 23 states if the robber is not caught, the man can go to the city and the mayor and say, hey, this is what was stolen, and they'll replace it for him. That's law 23. So again, you're going to decide just, unjust. And every law should be going either in the just bucket or the not just bucket. Law 48 states, if a man has borrowed money to plant his fields and floods ruin his crops, he does not have to pay back the person who loaned him money. So if you're like, yeah, that's totally fair, you're going to put it in your just column. If you think it's not fair, you're going to put it in your not just. And then laws 53 and 54 states, if a man has opened his trench for irrigation and he floods his neighbor's fields, he must restore the crops. So if he ruins his neighbor's crops, he has to restore them. So if you think that's fair, you're just going to put 53/54, and you're either going to put it in just or you're going to put it in unjust. So at this point, you should have all laws from document C in one bucket or the other. You should have all laws from document D in one bucket or the other. All right, now we're going to go on to document E. And if you're still thinking, just pause the video. Just go pause and I'll go. And then unpause and I'll start moving again. All right, document E. Law 196, if a man knocks out the eye of a free man, his eye shall be knocked out. So again, 196, where is it going to go? Is it going to go in just, unjust? We don't know. Which one? So I'm going to put it there. Law 199. If he's knocked out the eye of a slave, he shall pay half the value. So let's say I'm like, yeah, no, that's not just. It should be the same. So let's say I'm going to put 199 and not just. Okay, and you have your opinion. You get to choose which bucket you want to put it in. Just, unjust. All right, Law 209 states, if a man hits the daughter of a free man and causes her to have a miscarriage, then he has to pay the father 10 shekels. So now it's going to be 209. Do you think that's just or unjust? Let's see, I'm going to put in unjust. And I'm not saying this is what I think. I'm just giving examples. And then Law 213, if he has struck the slave girl of a free man and causes her to have a miscarriage, then he only has to pay 2 shekels. I'm not so loving that, so I'm going to put that in not just. All right, 2 more. Law 215, if a surgeon operates and does a good job, saves a man, he gets a reward. Okay, awesome, way to be surgeon. So 215, you're going to decide, does that go in the just bucket or the unjust bucket? And then the last one, 218, says if a surgeon works on a patient and the patient dies, he loses his hands. Okay, well, you know, I don't want a doctor working on me that killed people. So let's say I'm going to put that in my just column. So by the time you're done, you should have all 14 of these laws either sorted into the just bucket or sorted into the not just bucket. And at this point, if this was actually what I believed, I'm looking at this right here, I obviously have many more laws in the just. So even though I don't think all of Hammurabi's laws are just, obviously I think a good amount of them. So when I go to answer the question, was Hammurabi's code just? I'm going to probably go with yes, because this is what the evidence looks like. I have more in my just bucket. When you do it, you may have more in your not just bucket. It's going to be up to you. All right. So this is where you're going to stop for today. So again, on Thursday's lesson, you need to have completed document D, annotated and questions answered. Document E, annotated and questions answered. And you need to have your bucket sheet and the 14 laws either in here or here. And so when you send me this and I look at it and be like, oh my gosh, Bob totally thinks the laws were not just. Oh, Bob, what are you thinking? All right, and then on Friday, we're gonna start on our paragraph, which is gonna be very easy because you're gonna already have your claim. If you're like, yep, dude, totally, they're just, that's your claim. If you're like, nope, dude, sorry, not just, there's your claim. All right, so if you have any questions, comments, reach out, text me. If you wanna do a one-on-one Zoom, whatever you need, whatever you want, I'm here for you. All right, I love you, I miss you, make good choices, be good people. Tell everyone I'm your favorite, even if I have dirty COVID. Deuces.